What's up, friends? Today we're checking out A Little More by Ed Sheeran. We'll be looking at it from the perspective of a producer, songwriter, singer, rapper, someone who's been quite inspired by Ed Sheeran's earlier work, Loved, Plus, Multiply, and Divide. Everything after wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I know that it was still really popular. Started listening to this song and thought, okay, we got another banger on our hands. It's been a while since I've had an Ed Sheeran banger, so I want to talk about this. We'll be looking at this song in kind of 6-second increments to avoid the copyright bots going after me. I like the Lego house references going on right now. It's very cool. I like the really kind of like bass driven with a little xylophone going on as an intro to the song. I feel like that really fits the tone you might expect from someone like Ed Sheeran. I felt that when 21 Pilots went that direction, it felt a little weird for me to go into kind of like this funkier, poppier zone, but I think it really fits on Ed Sheeran.
When you open the box, stop this. You've come too far, enough is enough.
Cool verse. Nice, simple, ba 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 da 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 da. I really like the interplay of the drums and the keyboard. So it's kind of like just like a simple Rhodesy type of keyboard, and solid performance by Ed Sheeran.
I sometimes wonder, do you live with regret? Wish I could say I wish you.
That pre-chorus is great. I love the use of Ed Sheeran's falsetto and his seamless transition from falsetto to chest voice. It just sounds really good, really rhythmic, very much in kind of that style that we expect from Mr. Sheeran.
I used to love you, now every day I hate you just a little more.
That first half of the chorus I think is really strong. I used to love you, now I find I hate you a little more. It's a really interesting approach to a breakup song as kind of this slow deterioration of a relationship and poising it in that way. I think it's really fascinating how few vocal layers we have on an Ed Sheeran song. I'm used to just layers on layers, octaves, harmonies, the whole 9 yards. Mainly the octaves I feel like have become kind of a classic thing we would expect from Ed Sheeran. And here, it's just his vocal. There might be a double there to emphasize a few parts and to help that falsetto come off as a little less thin, because that's a pretty common practice with falsettos. But outside of that, I'm not really hearing anything super noticeable.
Every day I hate you just a little more.
I think that second half of the chorus is almost stronger than the first half. I really like how he ends it out with that little more and more and more. I think it's really fun. I also like that the synth has been replaced with horns. I think it's a really intelligent switch right there. And it's very reminiscent of kind of that older 60s tradition of rock and roll that has a lot of kind of horns going on and that kind of funk soul influence on rock and roll. I think it's cool.
You slip, or when you're in a dip. I was there to lean on when I was a kid, but now that I'm an adult, I see it for what it is.
Oh, yeah. So that rap portion is great. Second verse rap, very K-poppy thing to do. Also, not uncommon for Ed Sheeran. I think in it's not Don't. It's that other one from Multiply that was a big hit that has raps. The one where he says "kiss in my mouth," which is a great phrase. Also has that second verse rap. I think the second verse rap here works really, really well to further develop without kind of going straight back into that really melodic thing. Well performed. Killed it.
Drama there with your mate. Your sister's got enough to manage on her plate to worry about you controlling your age.
Yeah, and I think the second half of that verse there is brilliant. I really like the lyrics he's going for here. Again, emphasizing that slow deterioration. I like how they're saying it's not just me who's experiencing it. So you're not just getting like a interpersonal, just the two of them type of relationship, but rather a kind of full spectrum. I like how we've draw back for those parts. We have, a little less of that bigger production that we see in the pre-chorus and chorus. to give room for future development. I think that's just a really smart approach to form when it comes to production. Do it myself when I'm producing all the time.
Blame it on your history and say it's not your fault. I can't call you crazy.
Looking at that second chorus, we see slight development going there from the first chorus. In the first chorus, we didn't have as prominent back vocals. Here, the back vocals are a little bit more prominent, especially at end of phrases. And we also have this really cool atmospheric synth going throughout the song. I did something super similar on my song Across the Clouds, which is available everywhere. Where as the chorus is developed, I added more vocals, and I also added a very similar sounding atmospheric synth. I like how it wasn't incredibly prominent, so it wasn't just like in our face, but it added a certain amount of texture to the chorus. I wonder if this is just for the music video or if this is actually how the song goes.
I used to love you.
I was so hoping that her face wouldn't change, and then it changes. I almost wish that instead of going, because I like that idea of turning your pre-chorus into your bridge. It's an interesting idea. I've done it while developing a few pop songs recently. I haven't put those out yet, but I think it's a good way to do it. I almost wish that they would have gone to that drop down instrumental section in the actual song. I don't know if they do, but I think it's cool to, you're building up in the pre-chorus and then it drops a little bit, the instruments chill for a second, and then it goes back into the chorus, because the expectation is you get that pre-chorus bridgey thing, and then you have that pre-chorus going and it builds to the obvious place of going into that chorus again. So I think it's fascinating to instead go into this instrumental breakdown. I'll have to listen to the non-music video version of the song to check that out.
But every day I hate you just a little more.
I really like the call and response vocal that they've added to this last chorus. Again, constantly developing each chorus to get a little more involved, a little more texture. I like the effects that they've put on it. It sounds like they put a little bit of chorus on it, quite a bit of echo to create this kind of atmospheric quality, this almost otherworldly quality that I think adds an interesting texture to this generally funky song.
The world will change. You will trust someone you're...
That ending is so strange. I don't think I've heard that song before. Is that from an older album, or is that an upcoming song that he hasn't released yet? If it's upcoming, I think that's really cool. Really fun way to preview that. If it's already come out, that's still funny. But I just, yeah, it's it's not what I expected from that ending. Yeah, it's fun. I like the Rupert Grint vibe to it. I think he's very fun addition to any Ed Sheeran music video. They should do a full tour where it's just Rupert Grint coming out the whole time and then Ed Sheeran's in the back doing the songs. I think that'd be hilarious. I would love it. I think people would go out to it. At least a couple shows like that, right? Why not? Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this song. I think it's a cool song, which is weird. I haven't liked Ed Sheeran for so long. I'm very, very excited that there is music that he's putting out right now that actually is enjoyable for me. And that's not to say it hasn't been good. It just hasn't been my cup of tea, and now it is. I make music as well. Actually, does that singer hip hop combo thing quite a bit. I've been leaning more and more on the hip hop side of things recently. I've got a song I put out just this week called Too Late, Out Too Late. If you want to check that out, it's here. Thanks so much. Catch you on the flip.
She's fresher than Ziploc. Keep going non-stop from glances at parties to smooching the smarty.